All right. So the question is how do I trust someone? And man, this is a real fucked up question because the reality of how I trust a man or how I trust somebody that I'm coaching is based off of the results that they get inside of their bodies. So this seems very aggressive. It seems really rough to hear, but the reality of a person, male or female, that tells me they're going to achieve some type of results through nutrition and training has to get something moving, right? And I'm not saying that you have to lose an absorbent amount of weight. I'm not saying you have to have a six pack. I'm not saying that you got to squat 1,000 pounds. I'm not saying any of that shit. I don't give a fuck whether you're training to run a marathon, training to complete a Spartan race, whether you're trying to go and do CrossFit. I do not care what that is. What I do care and what I do trust is that you say you're going to do something and you're willing to work at it, and you do it repetitively over and over and over again for 4, 5, 6, 8, 12 years. That's truly what I see. That's what I see. So if somebody comes to me and they're fat and they're heavy set and they have weight on them and they say, hey man, I want to lose weight, and they start the process, and then they say, hey, I'm following a diet, I'm working out, and yet I'm getting zero results. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's different if you come to me and say, hey man, I'm trying to follow the diet, I'm trying to work out, and I'm not getting results. Then I understand it. Like, hey, I'm failing somewhere and I just don't know where. That's a different conversation. But then individual has to have the ownership on the failure themselves, which in turn allows me to trust you. That's how I can actually trust you, is that you say that, hey man, I'm failing. Hey man, something's wrong. Hey man, I'm not doing something right. I think I am, but I have no clue what I'm actually doing. I'm listening, I'm hearing you, but there's something I'm doing wrong. And then you can improve on it. You can work on it. You can develop that in itself. Prior to that, until somebody has that realization and that reckoning, then no, man, it's a loss. The other one too, that I get to is if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I eat well, I train well, but I don't have the body type that represents that. So that's bullshit in itself. The relationship is already starting with bullshit. It's already starting. So you want me to coach you, you want me to guide you, you want me to help you, you want me to teach you, and you're starting this relationship on a pretense of a lie. That's already a problem. That's already a problem. It's different. You come to me and say, hey man, I've been trying to work on my nutrition. I've been trying to work on my fitness, and I'm not getting any results. And it's probably based on how I'm doing it. Something's wrong there. Okay. Now I can trust that. Same thing with somebody comes to me and they're in shape. They're in shape and they want to talk to me about being in shape. They want to talk to me about nutrition. They want to talk to me about things of that nature. They already have a little bit of my trust based off of what I see, based off of the return that they've been getting by what they've put in. That's the number one thing about the body. The body doesn't give a shit about who you know. It doesn't care about your connections. It doesn't care about what you've done with it last week. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. It forgets about you quickly. What it does care is what you're doing for it today. What it does care is the continuous process of putting it in over and over and over again through time. And that's how you actually develop. That's where you get the results that you're looking for. That's where you're getting what you're trying to do. Again, I don't care if you want six pack. I don't care if you want to clean 500, 400 pounds. I don't care if you want to run a marathon. I don't care if you want to do a Spartan race. I don't care. As long as you're training for something, then you're moving in the right direction. And understanding that too, right? Like you don't have to go and train for a marathon to be physically fit. You don't have to train and give up too much, but you have to give up something every day. You have to be willing to give up something every day. You have to be willing to give up some of your time. You have to be willing to give up some of your wants. You have to be willing to give up some of your cravings. You have to be willing to give up some of the things that are going to drive you and pull you away from getting results. So again, not saying you have to not drink, but you definitely can't drink multiple times a week. I'm not saying that you can't eat like an asshole, but you definitely can't eat like an asshole multiple times a week. I'm not saying that you have to lift heavy weights all the time, but you definitely have to lift some weights sometimes. Same thing with conditioning. You have to do some type of conditioning sometimes. You have to have some type of intensity sometimes. So again, I don't care if you want to call it CrossFit, you want to call it strength conditioning, you want to call it hybrid, you want to call it fucking HIIT, you want to call it whatever, but it has to have a well balance to what you're looking to accomplish to ensure your fitness and your development over time. That I can trust. That I can trust an individual, that I understand an individual. Someone goes and says, hey man, I'm going to lose 12 pounds in the next 12 weeks and comes back and they're heavier or they haven't lost 1 pound. That's a fucking problem for me. That person, that individual, I cannot trust. I can't even trust them in their body. I can't trust them in their being. I can't trust them in their spirituality, right? I can't trust them in their relationship. I can't trust them in their business, in their actual essence of what they're doing with developing inside there. I can't because you said you were going to do something and you didn't do any of it. Big problem. Big problem. Someone that's not working on their body, whether it's trying to get stronger, whether it's trying to get faster, whether it's trying to maintain, whether it's trying to develop, I can't trust that either. I can trust a man. I can trust a person that wants to develop and learn about themselves. If you can't even put yourself into your own development, you can't even pay attention to yourself, you can't care for your own body, how the hell can you care about me? How can you care about those around you? And I get it. There is problems. Like people have problems. People have eating disorders. People have training disorders, phobias. There's a lot inside there, but that's also you working on it. I'm not saying that it has to change overnight, but it has to be a process of working on it. It has to be a process of change, not a process of bitching. If you're going to bitch about something, there has to be a requirement of an actual action. So fuck, I feel out of shape. Okay, well, fuck, I got to figure out how to get in shape. I feel fat. Well, okay, shit, you got to figure out how to get smaller, how to lean out, how to lose some weight. Oh shit, I feel small. Okay, well, shit, you got to figure out how to put some lean body mass on and put some size on you. So whatever that body dysmorphia is, whatever that fear is, whatever that is, you got to be aware of it and start to address it, start to attack it. Inside of that attack, when I see it, that's when I can trust an individual. When I see somebody that's overcome that, I can trust an individual by that, more or less. And again, it sounds really kind of egotistical. It sounds kind of mean, if you will, especially in today's standards of society. Well, fuck you, man. I don't really care. But what I do care about is you care about your own body. That's what I care about. That you care a little bit about your health and wellness, that you care a little bit about your strength, that you care a little bit about your conditioning, you care about your heart health, you care about a little bit of you. That's it. If that makes me a bad person, well, then I guess I'm a bad person. That's where I can trust an individual. And that's what I can really lean on as a coach, as someone who looks at an individual that says, okay, hey man, this is what you said you were going to do. And this is the steps that you're taking to get closer to that. So that's really how I answer that question, in the sense of, how do I trust somebody? I trust them based off their body. I trust based off of what they're willing to do every day, willing to sacrifice a little bit of time, willing to sacrifice a little bit of craving, willing to sacrifice a little bit of ego and their mind to move forward. That's also too how I look at individuals that are willing to learn and do shit that they don't like to do. So if you're someone who is making an excuse of, well, I can't do that because I'm going to get injured. Well, that's actually your ego telling you you're going to get injured. So yeah, you are going to get injured. But if you're someone who says, hey, I want to do this because this is what I want to develop on. Okay, that's different. That's different. So the snatch is one that I get that a lot. Like I get it. General population shouldn't learn the snatch. But I also come from a generation that adults weren't being taught gymnastics. And I wasn't taught gymnastics as a child. So I wanted to learn that skill. I wanted to develop that skill, and I was willing to do it at an older age. Do I do high risk, high level gymnastics? Nah, I don't do that anymore. Do I have the skill to do it? Yeah, I do. Do I still enjoy teaching it? Yeah, I do. Do I still mess around with certain levels of skills of gymnastics? Yeah, for sure. But that's just like people that do intramural sports. You got to be careful with that. At 35 years of age and you're doing sports, there's a reason why most professional athletes retire. It isn't because they suddenly suck at their sport. It's because they're old and they want to minimize injury and lifetime injuries. So what's it look like to be able to develop or maintain inside that process and still check your ego and still be able to move forward? Like an individual that comes to me and says, hey, I was in the best shape of my life when in my 20s. Well, how old are you now? And they're like, well, I'm 40. It's 20 years removed. That's half your life. That's half a lifetime ago you were in the best shape of your life. And what a horrible way to live. What a horrible way to live, to think that I was in the best shape of my life in my 20s and that's all I have. That's it. And I get it, because, you know, the peak of your physical fitness career is going to be inside of that 20 to 35. Yes, I understand that. But I'm not going to say that I'm in the best shape of my life, or obviously I was the strongest at that age when I was there. But I am going to keep myself the strongest at 45. I'm going to keep myself as strong as I can at 50, strong as I can at 55, and as best shape as I can. And I'm not going to hold myself to the standard of when I was 20. I'm going to hold myself to the standard of where I'm at today. And I'm not going to live on that past. So if you are thinking that you were an athlete when you were 20, if you are thinking that you were in shape when you were 20 and you're 40 right now, it's time to move. It's time to actually get going, and it's time to fucking build that trust with those around you by caring about yourself first. Build the trust with yourself. That's really what it comes down to. Build the trust with yourself by actually trying to get results. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at on that question. Have a great day.